Welcome back, everybody, to game number 2, where N9 is facing off against Orange Esports. You're watching the G1 League, and we're on the final day of group stage action. Today, we have 3 best out of 2 matches, and by the time today's action is complete, we will know for sure who is going to be eliminated from Group B, who will be advancing at the top of Groups A and B, and pretty much exactly how our playoff brackets are going to look. So, it's an exciting day, a lot at stake for the viewers, a lot at stake for the teams. And I think this is a fantastic time to actually take a look at the group standings. In Group A, we have IG, who has officially secured themselves first place, so they'll have a 1 seed going into the playoff brackets. For LGD, I believe, yes, they have successfully secured themselves a 2 seed. So 1 and 2 are decided for Group A, and 3rd place and 4th place is decided for Group A. So Group A, there's really nothing at stake. IG will be playing against EG, but that's purely just to sort of rack up points in the group stages. Nothing beyond that, as those placements are secured. I suppose EG and MUFC... Actually, that's not entirely true. I think EG and MUFC might... They'd split 1-1 versus each other, so if EG somehow beats IG 2-0, then in theory EG could be a 3 seed instead of a 4 seed. But basically, Group A is decided. Group B, DK is a lot more up for grabs. We have DK, who's all but secured themselves first place in the group, sitting at 5-1. They play against Flash later today. Orange just took game 1 in this series, but still trying to fight for an opportunity to be ahead of DK. They've got 2nd place locked up. For them, it's all about taking the series 2-0 and then hoping that DK drop at least 1 game. If they do, then it comes down to the time rating as well between those 2 teams, as they also tied in the head-to-head matchup. Meanwhile, for N9, if they lose this match, they drop to 2-6, and then they're pretty much riding on DK beating Flash 2-0 to advance out of the group. So that's our groups, that's our standings, sort of giving you an idea of what's at stake. It's mostly Group B that's up in play. And really the big question is who's actually going to advance to the playoffs and who's going to be sent home after the conclusion of today's action. We'll find out in a little bit, but for now, we jump our way into game number 2, where the first pick went to Orange, and they went for a Batrider. No more banning the junglers. They didn't ban... Last game, we saw them ban godot's junglers. They banned the Chen and the Enchantress with the first 2 bans, and it worked. N9 seemed a little bit lost that game. Frankly, maybe it was pain, but even aside from the fact that the black holes weren't always hitting, the BKBs weren't necessarily popped at the ideal times, maybe the delay was a factor for that, but even the overall strategy just didn't feel right. N9 had early BKBs, could have gone for just an aggressive timing push and really forced the issue, but tried to play it safe, tried to kind of play it defensively and trade ground. And, well, when iceiceice is microing his Naga illusions as beautifully as he was, there just wasn't a shot for him. Of course, for anyone who's wondering who I am LD of dotacommentaries.com, of Beyond the Summit, and I'm delighted to be bringing you this game number 2. Undying is the pick for N9, so they go for the big zombie man to combo up with the Chen creeps, and suddenly we have a lineup that can just kind of brute force their way towards your towers and really be aggressive in the mid game. Looks like he could be their safe lane farmer. They could run him aggressively. Chen, not the best offensive tri-lane kind of jungler. Generally, you'd want Enchantress for that, but not horrible either. And I'm interested to see how N9 plays this game. I felt last game they just gave up way too much initiative to Orange, even though they had the lineup that could force the issue. Once they completed the BKB on the Enigma, on the Shadow Fiend, and having the Blink BKB on the Batrider just a few minutes later. I would like to see them take the fight to Orange. I think Orange is a team that if you don't take the fight to them, unless you're a team that's as pristine with their farming and efficiency as, say, LGD or DK, you can't really plan on beating Orange late game, especially not when they pick heroes that can farm as well as a Naga, that can scale as well as her, and that are just so disruptive in team fights. Wasn't a big fan of the game plan, but it also did come down to execution, just not really able to land a good black hole. Anyway, we are here in the 2nd stage of the bans now, and it's the strong AoE support that gets banned out first for N9. They take the Keeper of the Light off the map, expecting Orange perhaps to run this Batrider as a mid or as a jungler. Don't really think that the Keeper of the Light would do much for them in a tri-lane with the Jakiro. Well, it could, but they don't really have the setup stun yet. So I'm curious how they're going to construct the rest of this lineup. Orange has gone for the Invoker, and I'm really hoping it's an iceiceice Invoker. But Yamateh is back in the game. They used the stand at Mr. Kyo last game. Oh, I just now realized it. But Yamateh is here, so the only player who's not in the series is Mushi, who's the stand-in for him is HYHY. who many of you will know from Zenith or 1v5 as they're currently constructed. Kind of a Zenith Orange hybrid, and I'm curious to see how this game goes. It felt like Orange was a little bit... Mr. Kyo did not really do as much as what you normally expect to see out of a player like Mushi or Yamateh, so this should be an upgrade for them. And we'll see how they choose to play. Whose Invoker is it going to be? Is it going to be a Yamateh Invoker? Is it going to be an iceiceice Invoker? And there's a Bounty Hunter in the pool. Honestly shocked that he got the last pick in the previous game. Although, to be fair, he didn't do a whole lot. The hero just does so much in this version most games. Especially in the Southeast Asian and the Chinese scene, that it seems a little bit silly not to ban him. Especially when, frankly, both teams look like they don't have their Suicide Lane hero. Could be the Bat Rider for Orange. But N9 almost certainly doesn't have one. Unless they do that Undying Tri-Lane. Orange now just banning out all the initiators, all the good teamfight starters, whether it's the Hex for the Rasta or the pushing power that comes out through him. Because if you get the wards and the tombstone down, this is a very smart ban. If you get the wards and the tombstone down at a tower, it's pretty much impossible to fight under the tower in the early to mid game. So getting rid of Rasta also gets rid of that Hex, which is the bane of the existence for a hero like Queen of Pain. Hey, it rhymed. Nice. And then, of course, the big teamfight specialists and the Suicide Lane hero, potentially in the Tide Hunter, and the Panda for more of your farming teamfight hero. Slow draft after a very slow game for the most part. I guess the burning question for many of us out there, including you guys at home, is can iceiceice possibly troll any more than what we saw last game? Is it even humanly possible? I'm actually going to say right now, for anyone who's just tuning in and didn't watch game number 1, or if you're watching this on the VODs and you somehow didn't watch game 1 or you skipped through a little bit, go back and just watch the last 20 minutes, because that was the most ridiculous trolling I've ever seen by a player in a competitive game of Dota, more than anything I've ever seen from Sing Sing or any of the Western players. iceiceice really making a case for himself as Master Troll, and well, he's been known for one for a long time in the scene. I'm actually hoping to have him on for an interview after game 2 and sort of pick his brain about what the hell he was going on about. But for the moment, Arch, pick up the Lone Druid, and let's see what they choose to do for their final pick. I actually wonder, is this their offlane hero? It could be the Bat Rider or the Lone Druid. I don't know if I've ever seen Orange run a Lone Druid, to be honest. It's just not a hero they play very much. They generally prefer those kind of mobile burst damage carries, like Shadow Fiend, like the Invoker, like the Queen of Pain, and the Templar Assassin. I actually can't remember ever watching Orange play Lone Druid. It's certainly not that unusual of a hero, but just not something you see very often. And I like these picks because now they have an Exhort Invoker if he chooses to go that way, and Lone Druid. They have 2 physical DPS heroes, and that's what you need to bring down the Tombstone quickly. If you can't kill the Tombstone, life gets extremely hard. But if the Bear or the Invoker is a decent start, the Tombstone not really going to do too much in these team fights. Just trying to protect my throat now. It took a bit of a beating towards the end of the last game. I did not drink enough hot water, which I watched an interview with Tasteless recently for Real Talk, and he went on and on about how he almost had to have throat surgery because he didn't take care of his voice. So I am not Toby1. My vocal cords are resilient, I guess, but they're not immortal. I can't get away with screaming all day or getting too loud. So drinking that hot water, trying to keep the voice protected, because... And the reason I bring this up is we're only through the group stages. We still have online playoffs to come with a somewhat of a double elimination bracket for the top 4 teams, and then single elimination for the bottom 4, the 3rd and 4th seeds from each group. But we have that followed by the LAN finals, so there's a lot of games to come over the next week. We have basically another week of full action. Now, it's only 1 game a day, but it's 1 game every day, so it's a lot of games coming. And Orange... gonna round out this draft with the Tanker. Wow. Going for almost cheesy as far as the push goes. Now they've got Forge Spirits, they've got the Jakiro passive, which I forget, the Liquid Fire, to slow down the towers. They have the Lone Druid to wail away on them. They have Tinker to just slam down March of the Machines and just make it very difficult for Natural 9 to actually fight into this lineup. This is a great counter-pushing hero. This is a great burst damager. I think this is a brilliant pick by Orange, and Well, a Tinker. I'm curious who's going to be playing what for this team. It's an iceiceice lone druid. Look for him probably to be back in the suicide lane. HY on the Invoker, so actually not sure who's going where. Maybe it'll be a Batrider suicide lane. Jungle lone druid, Tinker safe lane, Invoker mid, and Jakiro supporting that safe lane. It's hard to say with this team. It's hard to say with this lineup. You could have a jungle Batrider suicide lane lone druid, an Invoker mid, and a Tinker safe lane. But either way, you do expect Tinker in the safe lane. He's rather gankable. We'll see though. Could be Invoker in the safe lane too. So pretty much everything up in the air. And it's an extinct Batrider, so it looks like a jungle Batrider. And let's see how the rest of the lanes shake out. Meanwhile, over on the side of N9, we have Godot on his signature Chen. This I like a lot, and this I think was something they were lacking last game, is just getting Godot on a hero that can have a high impact in the early to mid game. Last game, who was he playing? I actually can't remember. I want to say it was the Disruptor, but whatever it wasn't a jungler like Chen that can have such a big impact in terms of pushing, in terms of turning team fights around in the mid game. And it never really felt like he had much of a presence in that game. This hero, Godot, he knows how to have a presence on the Chen, and I think it's a much better pick for them, just for the way they play. And as a Shatan Undying, this is going to be probably their primary farmer, at least in the early to mid game. If the game goes longer, it will be up to Queen of Pain to carry. Undying not known for scaling particularly well. But fzfz playing the Queen of Pain, should be going solo mid. Shatan in the safe lane as the Undying. Godot defensive jungle, off lane Beastmaster, and then probably just a roaming Vengeful Spirit, or maybe just doing some pulls in the safe lane. A good hero to combo up with the Chen. And now they have the Inner Beastar and the Vengeance Zara. So a bit of an R stack for this team. Kind of makes up for their lack of true late game damage, true late game carry potential is these Zars. Meanwhile, over on the side of N9, HY Invoker, who's going Quas Wex? Looks like Quas Wex. Not positive though, but he starts with the Blades of Attack. Yamateh Tinker, so Yamateh probably going to be farming the safe lane. Iceiceice as in the suicide lane as the lone druid, 6 tangos. And let's see how good his pulls are. Let's see if N9 are able to shut these down. Ice on the Jakiro. So many ices with this team, I gotta say. And finally, last but certainly not least, it is Xtinct on the what should be a jungle Batrider. Oh, it's a level 1 Roche from N9. Can they actually do this? They do have Inner Beast. They do have the Vengeance Zara. They don't have a whole lot to tank, but Beastmaster doing a great job. And my god, that soul risk right back. Has 3 salves. Can't get bashed. Can't afford to get bashed too much. He won't. He's going to salve up. They're doing it. They're getting this level 1 Roche. Oh, it's not really a lineup you expect to be that good at level 1 Roche. They don't have the best heroes to tank it. Shatan's dropping low. I think the other supports need to start tanking a little bit. Repent or Test of Penitence is used just to break that shield. For no real reason. Shatan has 1 salve left. They got to get this soon. Now the Shadow Strike to slow down that Roche and just do a little bit of extra damage. Risk dropping low. 1 more salve for him. Are they going to get this off? I think Ice knows what's up. Arch is going to look towards the pit. Roshan drops. Aegis of the Immortal goes onto the suicide lane here. That goes onto Risk. Wow, they pull a fast one. Off the bat, N9 doing something a little cheesy, but it works. That was impressive. Beastmaster really tanking Roshan incredibly well with that stout shield. And you know it's not a traditional Roshan lineup. You know it's not really an obvious Roshan, because Arch didn't even think about checking the pit. If there's even a question, any pro team will always immediately go check, but in this case, they get away with it. So off the bat, gonna have a nice little golden experience lead. Level 2 for the Queen of Pain before the creeps even get there. Same for Risk, so he's got the Axes and the Inner Beast. This allows him to stack freely. You'll notice this was dewarded, as well as the Ancients warded off, so he could stack freely except for that. But he's got money for Sentry Wards. He's gonna place one, and can use Axes to chop down those trees. Ice is desperately trying to get these creeps back to the lane. Oh, does he want to get 2 waves at once? I think he wanted to, but just gonna opt for the 1 in the end. Now he's lurking behind the trees. The bear bringing the creeps back to the lane. Honestly, not sure why he's not just bringing them to the tower, but feels he can farm in this lane. Is playing in the dark, doesn't have any wards. That makes life extremely difficult for Lone Druid. Playing in the dark and not actually pulling the wave all the way back. Over in the middle lane, HY with the Quas Wex Invoker. Playing against fzfz as the Queen of Pain. Already has 600 gold. Queen of Pain doing a decent job in this lane. So far, even farm. Which generally you should be out farming Quas, Wex, Invoker at this point, because you've got 64 damage, he's only got 49, even with the Blades of Attack, so 15 additional damage. Really should be getting every creep, almost. If you don't now, it gets harder later. Once the phase boots come up, that plus 24 damage, it more or less makes up for your weakness in last hitting in the early lating stage. Shatan getting some good free farm up in the top lane. Risk going to check the runes. Now the one downside for N9 is that it's only a 6-minute Aegis, so Orange could just wait this out, and level 6-minute mark is probably where you're going for the kills anyway in that lane. So the Aegis isn't really going to do a whole lot. Risk is probably not getting ganked anyway, but the goal of the experience is still absolutely huge. Very passive start, and this gives godot pretty much what he wants. Level 4 at 2.5 minutes. I actually want to watch this replay now, because Chen hitting level 4 at 2.5 minutes is just absolutely ridiculous. I wonder if he had a Wildkin and used it to farm a stack. Not really sure how else he would have gotten level 4 at 2.5 minutes in. That is some truly impressive jungling. Being absolutely as efficient as possible. You may not see a cute YouTube video with dubstep and wub wub and the screen shaking for Chen getting some fast levels in the jungle, but that doesn't mean it's not equally impressive to a hook or to some sort of other, you know, top 10 type of play. I'm telling you, man, this is woe Dota level jungling. Although now he's slowing down a little bit. Almost level 5. He's gonna have 2 creeps at 3.5 minutes, and what's to stop them from just pushing or ganking? Munchkin just has his HY just has his boots right now. Phase boot's not complete yet. This will be a great time to kill him off, although he does have a point of X, so they will need a sentry ward. Winter doing a lot of pulling. You'll notice he's going for the double pull, fully denying the lone druid, and iceiceice has hit level 3, so not fully because they did push the wave. Actually not really doing the best job of controlling the creep equilibrium. Frankly, in this lane, I don't think lone druid should be getting any farm, unless he's pulling the wave, which he didn't really do. Because if he walks into the creeps, you have an Undying with boots, so you can just start stealing HP, hitting really hard. You've got the stun, you've got the minus armor, and it will be a stun max. Winter going for more of this aggressive build. Trying to find some kills early. They have a lineup where you could almost justify maxing the aura first. They have Chen, they have Beastmaster. They could go for a bit of an aura stack, but they want to be able to burst down heroes like Tinker. Top lane, godot with the wraparound, the smoke gank. I believe it was a smoke gank, and sets up the kill. Let me actually double check that. Yeah, it looks like it was. They're down to 1 smoke, and I think they used one to get in the Roshan pit a bit quicker. So, a nice kill from godot. Having 2 creeps this early, just no chance for the lone druid. They are pushing iceiceice's lane. Let's see if he gets a chance to farm after this tower drops. That's the one weakness of pushing a lane early, is it can kind of backfire and work against you.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Unpause from Jakiro. Looks like we are ready to go. And the tower's gonna drop. They didn't even use a tombstone. Tombstone is being maxed first. Going for the team fight build, not as concerned about lane control, which it makes sense. Sometimes you'll see an Undying in an aggressive tri-lane max decay, level up decay, level up soul rip first for the burst damage, for the spam ability. But Tombstone much better if you're going for more of a mid-game timing. It's gonna do more in your team fights than just decay spam. Speaking of that decay spam, iceiceice, actually he whiffed on that one. Didn't actually hit it. It's 2 games in a row with just very slow starts for both teams, and I'm not sure if I like them pushing that tier 1 early and then just stopping. It gives lone druid a much safer lane. Now if they want to smoke gank, it's only a tiny window of room, and they only have 1 smoke left. They do get the early gold, they do get the early experience. Godot is going to have his arcane boots up. But N9 really wants to keep the pressure up. With the early tower being pushed, iceiceice hits level 4. He's not far off of 6. Yamateh, Aegis will end. Oh, did he actually get picked off? I guess his Aegis got... Wow, he lost the Aegis, I think, right as the timer ticked. Well, that should have been a kill, but the Aegis was there, so I guess it works out pretty well for Risk in the end. Oh, just not something you expect to see, though, is this Beastmaster dying essentially solo to a Tinker. Still stacking the Ancients, hasn't really farmed them yet. But he'll do that later on. And Winter placing a ward. Did iceiceice actually spot this out? He did. And this should be dewarded in short order, as there was an observer ward here. No smoke used to place that. Both teams playing careful. Orange really wants to win this game, really wants to be in a position where if DK lose a game against Flash, they have a chance of tying for first. The taggle onto Shatan. That's it. But you can start to see how Lone Druid, even when you shut him down early, in a 1v1, unless you're an incredibly potent 1v1 hero, you need the backup, you need Winter coming in, and the auto attacks coming out, or early Orb of Venom picked up just to slow down that harassment, just to be a little bit more of a nuisance in this lane. He has the boots on the hero.
Denied.
Our lead farmer is Yamateh on the Tinker, who at this rate should be looking at his boots of travel by around the 9-minute mark. 40 and 21. And actually, what skill build is he going for? Oh, he's going for the March Max. I was hoping for more of that burst damage K-Phoenix kind of build. Around we go, though, onto iceiceice. Great time to gank him. He's only level 5. And an easy kill for N9. Godot, level 6, getting close to having 3 creeps. And hey, the nice thing about pushing the tower is if iceiceice pushes the lane out, which he didn't keep it pulled back, then easier to gank, no tower to run to. He was dead anyway, though. Just not a whole lot we can do, and this is to be expected for Orange. You run an off-lane Lone Druid, you have one of the best junglers in the Asian game, in the scene, playing here, and a great ganking support in the bench. Your Lone Druid's going to die. This is pretty much a given for Orange. They're definitely okay with it. They're going to have a Blink Dagger up soon on Xtinct. They're going to have Boots of Travel up fairly soon on Yamateh. And if we look at the gold and experience, they're ahead quite a bit by gold, but mostly... Wow, is this going to be a turnaround kill from HY? HY needs one more auto attack. In fact, FZ might jump back in. He's bottling up, did not micros treads first. So not going to have quite enough, but Risk is going to spot him. A tasty haste rune. And let's see if HY is going to pay. Does he have a salve on the way? He does not. FZ still not switching to agility treads. Would really like to see him be more efficient with his bottle charges. Just a small thing you can do to maximize them, but he's going to jump in. There's the Scream and the auto attack, the Shadow Strike to bring him down. Now Xtinct jumps in. One by one, they're fighting, though, and the swap breaks the lasso and turns it around. Godot's joined the fight. Xtinct will fall. This they are definitely not okay with. They give up a bunch of kills on the... In fact, everyone has died now except for those 2 safe lane heroes. Invoker goes down. Batrider's Blink Dagger gets delayed. Surprising to see that Invoker stick around. They even had vision of the haste rune being picked up just on every count. Just sloppy play from Orange. Punished for it quite heavily. Godot did go for the Arcane Boots, which is pretty much mandatory on the new Chen. Since sending heroes back to base comes through Test of Faith, not through Holy Persuasion. And it costs 200 mana. When you use all of Chen's spells, I think it's around 900 mana, just to use every single spell once in a team fight. And once you level up Hand of God, it gets even more expensive, so not really an option. You'll notice iceiceice sitting around 2k gold, and now Yamateh starts to rotate around the map. He's got his Boots of Travel before the 10-minute mark. This is the one hero that has not been shut down for Orange, and it's a hero that can be, honestly, the one hero you want to shut down the most, because with March maxed out, it gets real tricky for N9 to push into a tower. Sure, they're going to have a mechanism quickly. Do they have a pipe? Not yet. They're going to work on one. They catch out Ice. Ice will die. Rockets fly through. Yamateh starting to spam that March the Machines. And the push just can't come. N9, they got to pick off the Tinker or be pushing a lane where he isn't. Which, good luck with that, since he's Tinker. He'll be there. Don't worry about it. He's always there when you don't want him to be. fzfz looking for... Can't even kill iceiceice now that he's level 7. They can't kill the Lone Druid without multiple heroes. They can't push the Tinker's lane without killing him. They may be able to get wrap around. This is what they really need, is these pickoffs. The ward gets dropped. They're going to spout out HY. I believe that they actually get vision of him. They have to know he's here. Tombstone gets dropped. The trees are destroyed. Now the EMP comes in. What an EMP tornado. Godot dies instantly. Might have to buy back. Actually doesn't have the Hand of God anyway. Now HY netted up under the tower. Godot's still fighting from beyond the grave. But that tower dive just did not work out at all. And they're not killing the Tombstone. They are farming these zombies. Look at the experience the zombies give. It adds up pretty quickly. Can they last hit this Tombstone? They will. Munchkin gets 130 gold for him. Oh boy, that was a bit of a disaster of a fight. The experience just completely turned on its head. Flipped around, upside down, our world today. And in spite of this game being 5-1, it's a game where N9 just cannot afford to make any mistakes. iceiceice, after being shut down quite hard, he's getting close to a Radiance. Tinker's already got the Boots of Travel. And Tinker can just stall all game long while this Lone Druid gets farmed up. And they're going to have a Blink Dagger soon, which allows Orange, similar to what we saw from EG the other day when they were running the triple Midas strat, where Batrider finds a kill, and then you don't even have to push a tower. You just buy time for the rest of your heroes to farm. So far, so good for Orange. I gotta say, this score is very deceptive. And I think they're in great shape. The only way that they're going to get into trouble is if Tinker starts dying a lot, or if N9 is somehow able to knock down some more towers and really limit that Tinker's mobility. But they've held on to every tower, well, not every tower. They've held on to one of their tier 1s. They haven't lost to tier 2 yet. And I wonder if they're ever going to at this point. Their window of opportunity to push that mostly was at when Chen was level 5, and it was about 4 minutes in. Now Tinker's got his max margin machines. Now he's level 9, so good luck pushing, honestly. In fact, he can push you back. Risk almost dying to the March and missile spam. Can't even get in range to throw the axes. A properly played Tinker, just arguably the most annoying hero in the game to play against. Even more annoying than Naga. For Orange today, it's just all about these heroes that make you want to claw your eyes out in frustration. EMP Tornado as the tower's about to drop. Will there be a deny attempt? Tombstone was dropped. Munchkin, HY gets the tower kill. He might pay for this. Winner coming in. Ice Path trying to slow down the aggression, and that's it. They get the tier 1 and they get out safely. Really unfortunate. In fact, Yamateh thinks about TPing and not going to in the end. I'm also a little surprised N9 hasn't gone for another Roshan. If they don't get this soon, they might lose their tier 1 mid, and then you get to a point where you don't have the map control to do it safely. They also need to farm these Ancients. Gotta start doing something on this side of the map. That seems to be their need. But when you do that, that creates space for the Lone Druid. Just a rock in a hard place for N9. They shut down the Lone Druid, they kind of slow down the Invoker. At least killed him once. Slow down the Batrider's Blink, but he's got it now. Batrider has the Blink. Lone Druid's up to 2,600 gold. We're still looking at a 16, 17 minute relic. At worst, could even be faster if he farms perfectly. In fact, I gotta point out, this Batrider is the second leading farmer in the game. In fact, the top 3 are all on Orange. Iceiceice is somehow in the top 3. This is again the weakness of pushing the tier 1 early and not maintaining pressure on the top lane. It just gives Lone Druid a safer place to farm. Now he's farming back here, all the way back near his tier 1 instead of up here near the river. Sometimes the worst thing you can do is push a lane too early, and well, I wouldn't say it's the worst thing, but it's not working out beautifully. And they go on to fzfz. fzfz in a lot of trouble. The burst damage and the cold snap is enough to bring him down. Lasso used effectively. The first evidence of a Batrider gank, and he strikes. He gets gold. He gets a kill. And watch what happens after that kill. It's not about the kill, it's about what happens afterwards. Now Yamateh, spammy March, pushing the middle lane. Lone Druid farming unimpeded top up to 30,000 gold, very close to the relic. Even Twin-Headed Dragon getting levels, getting farmed. Orange just being incredibly efficient and really starting to pull ahead. Now once they kill these dragons, that'll help to compensate. They do have a roar on Beastmaster. But can this Beastmaster do as much as the Batrider? Can he have an impact in this game? Batrider's already made his mark. He's up to 78 creeps. He's got his blink. He's gotten a kill for his team. And he's still farming well. Beastmaster not doing so much just yet. And as they're very similar heroes, I think it's totally fair to compare the two. You know, that's actually pretty cheeky. You can recall that bear and it will adjust wherever Yamateh's TPing. I wonder if that could be used to help the Tinker escape in some situation. Try to think. I guess not, because then he could just TP back to base anyway. But kind of cute. A cute little combo nonetheless for pushing. DSF called it a slow game before, and I think it's fair to say we have a bit of a slow game on our hands in this one, which heavily favors Orange. Now that N9 have the pipe, This is their opportunity to start forcing fights. They gotta get these tier 1s knocked out. They gotta slow down the farm of Orange. They can't let this turn into a farm where Queen of Pain, especially dying a few times, is not going to outcarry this. They should be able to catch xtinct. Let's see if he's quick on that blink. Firefly to start. He knew something was up, but just not able to get away in time. He'll drop. It's not about the kill for N9. It's about what can they turn the kill into. Roshan looks to be their objective. But while you Rosh, that means Tinker pushes in the bottom lane. The middle lane gets pushed by the other 3 or 4 heroes. And in fact, Lone Druid, I believe he just bought his relic. Nope, still 400 gold away. Is Rosh even worth it at this point? Who's going to carry the Aegis, and how much does it matter to get it? They don't have someone who's insanely farmed or a Storm Spirit who's just an amazing candidate. It'll help them. It's by no means bad, but is it worth giving up even more farm time? And that's assuming they get it. Tornado and the EMP and the missiles coming in. fzfz jumps in first. Once Munchkin, they're fighting in. Oh my god, look at the damage. Gotta pop that pipe. Taking their time with it. Yamateh rockets to drive everyone back. Queen of Pain blinks in and loses 2/3 of her health for a trouble. Aegis up on Shatan. So they give it to the Undying, valuing him as their most important hero in these fights. And with the pipe, he pretty much is. Pipe is the only way they can push. They gotta have that pipe up to deal with the Tinker. And not just the pipe, but also the Tombstone and particularly the Soul Rips, helping to sustain that push. Mechanism, pipe, and great pushing lineup, but no late game. Clock is ticking, and Yamateh fearless as always. 2,000 gold on him. TP's into the top lane. When you're TP'ing into a hero that's got an Aegis, like if this is an anti-mage with the Battle Fury and an Aegis, you're not TP'ing into that because you're just going to die to him very quickly. But it just shows you that Undying is not necessarily the scariest hero to give that item to. Yamateh goes for the Blink Dagger, the perfect item to stall this game. And a bit of it can be an aggressive item, but mostly just used for that TP in, shift Q the Blink, then drop March the Machines, and get the hell out of there, and just troll and delay, or not troll, but just delay the game as much as possible. The fight breaks out mid, Tinker's TPing into the middle of it, he will not eat the EMP, in jumps Batrider, Tornado to fly, will catch 2, catches that bend, and the Queen of Pain actually almost blinked into the Tornado again. I think it can hit you twice if you blink in front of it. Almost, but no cigar. Yamateh blinking forward in orange. They ain't afraid of this Aegis. They want to force the Undying to TP. He dropped the Tombstone top. They can just push. They must have spotted it. With the Relic up on the low Druid. If he goes for it. Will iceiceice even get a Relic this game? There's a pipe, there's a mech. Maybe you just go for, you know, the Mjolnir, the Maelstrom, the Basher. Even something like a Vlad's or an Assault Cuirass. Maybe it's not the right game to get a Relic. As I say that, looks like he's going to buy one. Yep, he'll still get the Relic. Not a bad item by any means, but you could make a case for skipping it in this game. For anyone just tuning in, this is game number 2 between Orange as well as N9. Orange have already secured 2nd place in Group B. We're on the final day of G1 League group stage action. If Orange win this game, they have a shot at taking 1st place in the group. If they lose it, they're pretty much out of it. Even if, I guess DK would have to go 0-2 versus Flash, which frankly, chances of that happening almost impossible. So after this match, we do have 2 more best of 2s coming up. But anyway, we'll focus back on the game as winner. Eats an EMP, eats a Tornado, and instantly out of mana. How many Arcane Boots does N9 have? Only 2. Really, you want 3 or 4 to fully deal with that EMP Tornado. It's a farm war, and it's a war that N9 can't win. They gotta change the terms of the engagement. They gotta change the terms of the battle. If this game continues much longer, the Hex will be coming up for Tinker, Lone Druid will have his Radiance, and the Aegis is gonna expire. That clock is really ticking. I don't even know if N9 can afford to wait for that 3rd Aegis. Sure, it's got Aegis and Cheese. But to some extent, who cares if Queen of Pain has a Cheese? Or an Aegis. Who cares if any of these heroes have 2 lives? They're just not... They're not really heroes that fight for long periods of time. Aside from Undying, but at this point, just... He's already... This is where his power curve starts to tail off. Bottom lane, they do find a kill on Queen of Pain. fzfz getting picked up just by a Jakiro and an Invoker. Obviously, the Cold Snap, the Tornado playing a big part in that, but really not the best killing combo to deal with Queen of Pain. A little surprising to see her drop there, and the one hero who could take N9 late, going for the mid-game build, going for the Necronomicon 3. All about the push. I don't know what they're waiting for. Sure, their hand's kind of forced. They can't really push without trading. But it's not like your odds of winning are going to get better if this game goes longer. You got to force a fight now. Got to use that Aegis soon. Yamateh even blinking forward. What a manly play. Blinky past the tower to drop another layer of March machines. That pipe, it only blocks so much, and the March just keeps on flowing. I feel N9 is not playing this matchup properly, but I also don't know how much of it they can control at this point. You know, it's like you make just a few mistakes early, you don't kill the Tinker enough, you give up a couple of kills maybe you shouldn't, and now really, what can they do? They want to find ganks on iceiceice, but they can't kill the Tinker. In fact, this fight might get turned around. Winter's dropping low, sent back to base by godot. Now godot's gonna die. Yamateh is everywhere, and Yamateh is looking pretty big. He's got the Blink Dagger, has in a few seconds, in comes the MP Tornado. Just the Tornado, actually. They get the kill. So N9, they try to go for a gank, and they're just not a great ganking lineup at this point in the game. They were a great ganking lineup in the laning stage, with Chen Smokes and Vengeful Spirit follow-up, but they can't really win the game now by doing that. They feel lost. It feels like N9 is lost and just don't really know what to do in this game right now. Getting out-farmed, getting out-pushed, getting out-pressured. And even starting to get out-ganked. And I honestly don't know if N9 can win a team fight. Aegis is going to die any second. In fact, it's just about to expire. Macropyre's dropped to stop this push. Winter will respawn quickly and come back into this fight. He is pretty low level, only level 8. And they finally find a kill on Ice, I believe. Swap back into the zombies. He'll drop. But look at the March doing some big damage. Meanwhile, on the back line of play, it's HY working on Shatan. Now running. Doesn't matter though. iceiceice gets the kill. The cold snap on wrist. And HY just stalling really and delaying them for so long. Rocket Splash through Blink away to disjoint that. But the Angry Bear is here. He wants his honey. Pops open Winter. Winter reveals his tasty underbelly. Now on to Shatan next. Shatan to drop here. Entangles for iceiceice all over the place. Who needs attack speed when you've got iceiceice kind of luck? Now the Bear being used to help Yamateh jump forward. Bear Radiance Burn going to go to work at godot. Godot has no heal, has no mech. Blinking forward again is Yamateh. Yamateh, one more blink over the top, and they will get this kill. Killing spree for iceiceice, who picks up another. Now sitting on 2,200 gold. And N9 try to force a fight. I think the Aegis of the Immortal expired in the middle of it, so Shatan didn't even get his second life. Nothing going right for N9. Just getting absolutely outmaneuvered in this game. And notice how I messed up my net worth graph. Notice how iceiceice is actually our lead farmer. This is a suicide lane lone druid who got ganked 2 times early and died. Yamateh jumping over the top. Wants risk. Needs vision for that missile. Can blink forward again. Drop that combo, Yamateh. You know you want to. No, Yamateh. He's not going to in the end. Tombstone gets dropped. And that's it. They back off. And even the Tombstone's not going to be effective. That's another thing that I talked about in the draft. Is either an Exhort Invoker or a farm low druid. They just auto-attack that Tombstone and it dies. And even a Wex Invoker, at this point he hits pretty hard with the Ultimate Orb. Getting close to a Hex. Relentless pressure, and now they're going to catch out Shatan. Pull back into the flames. Burning to death. He'll drop. Easy kills. Orange just keeping the pressure up. Completely in control of this game. Finding all the kills. N9 reacting. Not forcing Orange to react whatsoever. fzfz wants to gank iceiceice. He might be able to because iceiceice is not in ult form. Needs to switch now. Not choosing to do so. Now he switches, gets the entangle. Is he going to turn this around? Is fzfz going to die? He is. Oh, it was a kill, but it cost him quite a bit. Iceiceice with some big entangle luck in this game. And he even shopped already. What did he buy? Oh, it must already be on the Spirit Bear. Probably... Put the Radiance back on his hero. Huh. Must have been sending the bear to heal at that point. If he was already in ultimate form... no, it was there in the fight. I actually don't know why the Radiance is on his hero, to be totally honest with you. iceiceice has this thing. He's got this fetish recently, which is switching his items around. Dropping wands on the floor, dropping hearts and radiances, and then casually TPing out. And now switching the Radiance to his hero, which makes sense late game, but at this point, He had a bear resummon anyway, so that was a little bit odd to see. I guess since the bear was about to die, I wanted to make sure he didn't have to waste the resummon in that fight. Must have been it. In comes Xtinct, wants to go. Unable to get the last off on Shatan, but forces at the pipe. Which means if they go for another round, won't be available. Yamateh with the ultimate orb up. Double Hex coming soon for Orange, who are just getting to play exactly how they want to. Nothing being denied to them in this game. Yamateh's gotten his early farm. He's gotten his... Now he's aggressive. He's blinking past the tower, zoning everyone out. Batrider Xtinct is blinking in wherever he wants. Now he's got the Force Staff, so he can jump in, grab one, and then pull them out quickly. Especially kidnapping one of the members of N9. N9 lurking in the trees. Waiting to fly, waiting to go. I hear a Batman, I hear a Batman! Oh, to the Batmobile, says Xtinct. Where is he going to jump in? He doesn't actually. fzfz jumps in. Wanted to stop that lasso, but oh boy. That was not worth it at all. Now Yamateh blinking forward into Shatan, into wrist, does not care at all. The tombstone, watch it drop quickly once the lone druid arrives. Iceiceice is here. Iceiceice is doing some good work onto godot. Needs an entangle to find this kill. He actually went for a Vlad's, not for the hyperstone. Now the poison, the orb of venom slowing him down. Too fast, too furious. Orange just stampede into the base. An absolute wrecking ball of a team. They get the tier 2. They get 4 kills. And this is going to be racked. In fact, iceiceice, time to start dropping your items. Time to start drops. Oh, he's going to TP Yamateh in a long-range dive. Let the bear take the fountain while they get the kill in the midst of it. Yamateh needs to rearm. Summons that March. Orange just not quite able. You know, I got to say, I'm disappointed, Orange. You didn't actually have your fountain camping perfected for this game. Who am I kidding? All 3 of the core farmers, neck and neck, 11k net worth for them. Just an absolute train wreck of a game for N9. They get crushed 2-0. Game 1, it felt like they had their moments. In comes Queen of Pain, fzfz, EMP Tornado is not enough in the end. The lone druid will drop to that. Now Xtinct pulling him in, grabs him with the lasso, and brings him down. Ay, ay, ay. Brutal. Just brutal. Game 1, at least they had a shot. This game, really no shot from the word go. Oh boy, well, that wraps it up for game number 2. Once this final player, the Queen of Pain, actually leaves the game, we'll get our final scoreboard. But I think it's a good time, while we're waiting for that scoreboard, to actually look at the standings for today. Then we'll talk a little bit about the schedule that's coming up. This was Orange versus N9, our first of 3 matches for today. And with Orange winning this match, winning it 2-0, they advance to 6-2. This also drops Natural 9 down to 2-6 in the group. Flash Esports, if they win a game, they guarantee them versus DK, which is our next match coming up at 17 SGT. If they win a game in that series, which is going to be tough, it is DK, but if they manage to pull something out of the hat, something cheesy, N9 will be the team that goes home. If not, it comes down to a tiebreaker. As both teams split their match evenly, they tied 1-1 in the head-to-head. That's the first tiebreaker. So the next tiebreaker is time rating. And I actually could not tell you right now who wins in a time rating matchup, but I'll try to find out from the admins if they have it figured out. If not, we'll see if it matters. Again, Flash can secure 4th place in this group, and with that a playoff spot, as only one team is eliminated. If they win a game, if they take a game off DK, maybe DK will be sleepy, maybe DK will underestimate them. You just never know. Sure, DK should be the absolute heavy favorites, and they will be, but anything is possible in Dota. It probably comes down to a massive performance by Iwa. And I should say that Orange actually almost lost the game to Flash, and it was only because Flash made some mistakes that they didn't. So this Flash team, out of all the teams that have been sort of towards the bottom of Group B, I still think they've looked the strongest. I think they've looked stronger than Tonk, but I definitely think they've looked stronger than N9. They've at least given Orange a really close match, whereas really Tonk Fu and N9 have not given either Orange or DK a close match so far today. So that's where we are in this particular group, and actually now I will bring up the schedule. You can hear the game ending. Queen of Pain still isn't disconnected, but it's DK versus Flash. Should be starting in about 10 minutes time, so a very quick break for us. Not a long break like we've had the past few days. So don't do what you normally do and turn off the stream, guys. Just some fountain camping going on. Don't turn off the stream. We'll be coming back pretty much momentarily. And back inside the live game, where the fountain camping is well underway. Iceiceice is going to go for a triple kill. Triple kill for Ice, actually. The hero gets them all. And Iceiceice steals his fun. Steals that ultra kill. But it's all Ice all the way. So in a sense, it's an Ice. How appropriate. 4 Ices, 4 kills. Some sort of meme could be in the offing off of this. The the fountain camping just continuing a little bit. Iceiceice TPing back to base, leaving the bear there to do some radiance damage. fzfz just stubborn to the bitter end, will not let this game end. 3 heroes, 2 heroes, 6 heroes disconnected, 2 for one team, 4 for the other. Oh, Ice, you troll, you absolute troll. Gets the dagon. Alright, we'll keep an eye on this game. fzfz calls the GG. Don't hurt me, he says. Don't hurt me. But we all know Iceiceice, there's no mercy in this man's heart. No mercy at all. Charges down the middle lane. We're just going to keep it on Iceiceice vision the rest of the way, guys. As the Chinese admins have had enough. There actually is a console command, which I've told them about, but they just don't seem to be getting the hang of it, where you can force the end of the game. But we get opportunities like this when the games don't end. Let's see what the Dagon could do. Will the burst edge be there? Iceiceice? The bear is not in position. The bear is actually chasing these heroes. Now the macro part and the ice path catching 4. Oh god, the humanity! The humanity! fzfz! Where is your micro, sir? No micro at all, and now a second ice path. fzfz, in fact, just sitting here, accepting his fate. Gets hexed, will drop. Everyone gets wiped. Team wipe for Orange again. Just some fountain camping shenanigans, and now the tombstone. Not going to be killed. They want the gold. Iceiceice, clearly a man after xtinct's heart. He loves his gold. Now he'll go end the game. And with that, it will be Orange securing at worst the second place and having a shot at first place in this group. If DK lose 1 game versus Flash, they're tied. If DK lose 2, Orange will take the group. Again, chances of that may be slim, but you do never know. That's why we play the games. If everything could be decided on paper, on forums, we'd never actually see any Dota. We just have them decided in the Fantasy League, which, speaking of which, I forgot to set my roster today. I'm a little bit upset about that. Oy vey. Alright, here we go. At the end of it all, Orange versus N9 goes the way of Orange, 2-0. An absolute beatdown from Orange in game number 2, and a troll for us from Ice in game number 1. I'm going to see if I can bring him on very quickly for a post-game interview, but if not, we'll be coming back in about 10 minutes' time. Should be in 10 minutes when DK versus Flash face off versus each other at 17 SGT. Thank you all very much for tuning in. I'm LD, of course, of dotacommentaries.com, of Beyond the Summit. You've been watching the G1 League, and we'll be back soon. All the VODs for today will be available, youtube.com/ldDOTA for those. They're also available on the Twitch channel if you don't mind watching VODs on Twitch. I know for some people it's very laggy. And if you want to follow me, support me, Facebook, twitter.com/ldDOTA. Don't forget to support the teams as well. Orange has a Facebook page, facebook.com, I believe, /Orange Esports. I don't know if N9 has one. I'll have to ask Godz. But for now, that wraps up for Orange versus N9. Stay tuned, guys. We'll have another best out of 2 coming up soon. DK versus Flash, fighting to see how Group B is going to shake out. We'll see how it does in just a few moments.